Hey, it's Heather at Adventures in Gardening, and today we're going to be doing a walk through the vegetable garden and look at all of the different veggies that are growing and the tomato garden as well, because we are on the cusp of a heat wave coming in and things are about to change. There's going to be a lot of salad greens that are going to be done in just a few days, probably going to get fed to the chickens, and other things are really going to start to grow really fast, and pests are going to start to come in with this heat wave. We're looking at like 5 days, I think, of really extreme temperatures. So that means I've got to step up and really do a lot more watering in the next few days to keep things going. This is where the rubber hits the road when things start to get hot and it's hard to go outside to do gardening, but this is when it's most crucial if you want a good harvest. So let's go walk, and there's a couple of different areas. It's not all in one area where I garden, but let's go through the big vegetable garden first. So let's get started. I garden in Connecticut Zone 6, and not only do we have high temperatures coming up, but it's very, very humid as well. This is my, my main vegetable garden. A lot of salad greens. I want to show you, I started everything from seed, everything I start from seed. Right here we have mustard greens that I never really intended to eat. They just self-sowed. These are for the chickens. They have been holding the soil in place, and now I will pull them out and plant some more. I have some lettuce that's going to go in there. And on this side I have a handful of kale. This is a butter crunch lettuce, and those are sanguine lettuce right there on the outside. And everywhere in my garden you will see purslane. Purslane is very nutritious, and it is a source of omega-3s. You can throw them in smoothies or you can juice them, but that's not really what we're looking at today. We are looking at how the vegetables are doing. This is dragon tongue bean right here, and it'll just be a couple days and I'll be able to start harvesting them. They are in a row right here. This is one head of Marvel of Four Seasons. You can see that it just looks great. It doesn't mind the heat at all, as opposed to this, and I've been harvesting, pulling heads out, and that's why it's like that. But this is that outrageous lettuce that I got from Baker Creek this year, and it is just starting to throw up a bud. So it's pretty done. We're still eating it though. It has great color, great texture, and it's held up really well up until this point. You can see I have my cherry tomatoes are growing on the outside of this cattle panel. And what I do is I just weave them in and out as they're growing, and they will go up and over this cattle panel. This is hands down the best investment I ever made, was to put in the cattle panels. So there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 cherry tomato plants on this side and 6 on the other side. And we'll just look at these right now. And there are tomatoes growing. I think that one is black strawberry. More tomatoes growing there. And this is lettuce leaf basil that needs to get the blossoms pinched off. Here's some more of that outrageous lettuce down here. And these are green beauty peas on this side, and we just eat them even this big. They're still really crunchy and tasty. And I cut them up and I put them in salads. You can see, so these are green beauty, and down here is tall telephone, the shelling peas. And they will get pulled out probably the second week of July. And what happened to the peas this year is we had a windstorm as the peas were growing, and it cut off all the ends, all the tips got bent over. Yeah, so it stopped them in their tracks. So I will not have nearly as many peas this year. Right over here I've got some Globo onions growing, and then I have 4 purple rain tomatoes growing back here, and they are a wonderful dwarf tomato plant. This is my cabbage patch, and I make sauerkraut and preserve the cabbages. There are some carrots growing in the back over there, and I have lavender plants growing on the outside here. The winter before last they took a hit, so they're still kind of looking a little scroungy. I have 2 Black Beauty zucchini here, and these are specifically for seed to sell as plants next year. You can see them down there, and there's a big horseradish growing back there. I use that for pickling. And this tomato is Early Wonder. I have 2 of those on either side of the steps here. Got some nice looking, I think these are Violet Sparkle. Are they Violet Sparkle or Poblano? These were not labeled, they're one or the other. And let's see, Cordebu tomato growing up. It'll go on this side of my cattle panel. And this tomato plant is Black Beauty. And again, I just weave them in and out of the cattle panels. Some hot peppers over here in this corner. And this is where all of my potatoes are. I have grass paths in my garden, and I am not mowing this week because of the heat wave, so the grass is a little long. Lots and lots of peas. I'll harvest peas, and I'll put a clip in at the end of all my harvest today because I have a few things. The strawberries grow up here in this wall. We are nearing the end of strawberry season and just going into blueberries. There's the blueberries. Got a couple red cabbages, and this is one of the beans I'm growing. I think it's Kalima beans here. This is last year's sanguine lettuce planted last fall that I'm saving. I'm going to let it flower and then save the seeds. And this is the tall telephone. One year I actually shelled them and canned them, and I spent like 8 hours. So now what we do is we'll pick them all and set them in the center of a table when we have my kids over, and we'll just eat peas. So nice big peas. Whoops, yeah, there you go. Very sweet. All right, now we're gonna, let's see, what else? Oh, yeah. I noticed, so this is my apple tree, North Pole. It's a columnar apple tree that is as wide as it's gonna get, but I noticed this morning that I've got, these are not gypsy moths, these are those tussock caterpillars in here. So I usually just spray them with dish soap, and that takes care of them. These are Mira peppers right here. They do pretty well in pots, so I've got a few of them here. And lots of lettuce. This lettuce is not gonna look this good in a couple days. We're gonna eat as much as we can, but unfortunately a lot of it's gonna go to waste. Or I shouldn't say to waste, it'll go to the chickens. So let's go check out one other little area I've got salad greens growing. The garlic scapes need to all get cut today, so again I'll show you a picture at the end of everything that I that I harvest this salad. This is like a little, it was supposed to be a attractive salad green garden, and I tried to make a pattern, but it just didn't work out. The shallots look fantastic. I threw some beans in after I pulled the arugula out. Those beans right there. There's more sanguine lettuce here, but it wilts every single day. I imagine it's not very tasty, but the chickens will eat it. The red mustards went to seed. There is, see that? My granddaughter says, oh, white butterfly. We know what that is because you can see all the holes in the leaves. Yeah, there are some worms in here. So today I will be planting some peppers. I'm going to be pulling the mustards out and planting some peppers in there. I have a couple of romaine lettuce here that I'm going to be pulling as well. And way over in the corner is crookneck squash that, again, it's all by itself because I keep it isolated to save the seed and keep the seed as pure as possible. And I almost forgot, okay, so way back here in the corner is an urn that has silver fir tree tomato plant in it. You can see the tomatoes on it, and there is orange hat. And my sister grew the purple ball basil, I think that's what it's called. And then I have a dichondra that will go over the edge. So you can grow tomatoes and have them be very attractive as well. These are suited just for containers. I mean, not just for containers. You can plant them in the garden too, but they do very, very well in containers. All right, so now we're going to go down and look at the tomato plants. Oh, actually, no, I got a couple of stops first to make before we look at the tomato system. All right, I want to show you this new little cucumber that I'm growing this year, this little gherkin that I'm going to hopefully grow on this trellis, on this arch right here. It is so cute. Where are you? Oh, look at it down there. Can you see that right there? Yeah, they're so cute and little. So I have two plants in this pot with some Greek basil. So we'll see how that does this year. All right, so I'm always looking for places to put plants. So I cleared this little area right here, and I have some small melons. I think they're called Rich Sweet, growing in the back, and I have some bush beans growing down here. I'm gonna stop and give some watermelon to the chickens. Hey girls, it's gonna be a hot one today. Hang on. No. Here we go. All right, so you saw where I grow my cherry tomatoes on the cattle panels. I grow my medium and large tomato plants on strings, and I am growing a lot less tomato plants this year than in years past, just because I want to cut down on the plant maintenance, spend more time with my grandbabies, but I use these strings to support the plants, and I have a lot of empty strings still on its, and what I'll do is I'll just put a new branch on it when it gets long enough. The strings support the tomato plants just fine. I never have to tie the tomato plants on. That's a question that people will ask me. No, I just keep wrapping them, and they just grab onto it really well. I have a lot of maintenance still to do down here. Take and cut the leaves that are touching the ground off. Cut a lot of the suckers will get cut off of here. But every day I got to come down and wrap. I have one of those hoses that are flat that has the holes poked in. It's buried underneath, and I run water at least every other day. Probably during the heat wave I will have to do it every single day. And so Yeah, so I just keep wrapping it clockwise like that. And see this one right here, I will put on this string as soon as it's long enough. You know, keep them supported, and I just keep wrapping them. Some of these have tomatoes on them already, like Black Icicle. They were all planted at the same time. This is such a great way to see the habits of different tomato plants. That little one right there is San Marzano. And this one right here is Bonnie Best. Look at that tomato right there. I told as many people that would listen about how wonderful this tomato plant is, and it really is. It's a great, healthy, vigorous tomato plant. And I think the one on the end is Orange Icicle. But we will go over tomatoes another day when there is more to see. But so far, so good. Everything's doing really well. They don't mind the heat. I just got to make sure I keep watering. So that was a quick look at all of the areas that I have vegetables and the tomato plants growing right now. I wanted to show you before things get a little out of control, because that does happen every year, and then I get so busy that I forget to share. So next time we will probably be looking at all of the different tomatoes, the actual tomatoes, and I'll talk a little bit more about that then. So subscribe so you don't miss out on the next adventure in gardening, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed walking around with me. Bye-bye.